For a young lady named Lydia Owens, I think that song means the world to her. Keep the first things first. It's Rob and Lizz in the morning, his radio, and Lydia has gotten a lot of attention lately. Valedictorian at Woodmont High School did the commencement speech, and at the end of the commencement speech, this happens. Roaring applause. What was that like for you, Lydia?
It was definitely overwhelming. It was not what I was expecting at all. I did not know that people would have that kind of reaction towards me talking about Jesus of all things. So, it was also very comforting, though, like knowing that they were encouraging me, and that, like, in that moment, I knew that's exactly what I was supposed to be doing.
Very curious. You're getting a lot of attention.
Yes.
You're on local news everywhere on the planet.
Yes.
I think they've even seen you in Antarctica on the
Nigeria,
local news.
even.
Nigeria, for real?
My dad sent me an article from Nigeria.
Get out.
Yeah.
That's
so
fantastic.
what is this like for you?
It's a lot. I mean, again, like it's overwhelming the amount of people who are supporting me and who are encouraging me in that. But I think best of all, like, it makes me feel so good that God is using my story to reach people for him. And that's something that I never thought he would be able to do. And so it's incredible. Like, God is just so good, and it's blowing me away.
She put a part of her story in the speech. Here's the part where I think you might be mentioning.
When tragedy struck my life, it was not my grades nor my accomplishments that helped me navigate through that loss. When everything else in my life felt uncertain, the only person that I could depend on to stay the same was Jesus.
And you mean that.
Yes, absolutely.
The tragedy was what?
The tragedy, my mom passed away almost 2 years ago.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
And you hung on to Jesus. Was that your first instinct?
Honestly, no. For almost a year after she passed away, I wrestled back and forth for a long time, like asking that same question, like, God, how can you use this? And I was in a really dark place for a long time because it hurt and it was hard. But I just slowly got to see God's faithfulness, and I saw the way that he kept providing and the way that he kept showing up. Even when I turned my back on him, he never turned his back on me. And that, like, his goodness was just overflowing from the people around me, from my circumstances, and that was just Jesus trying to reel me back in, and that's exactly what happened.
What were ways that he showed up for you?
He provided in a lot of ways. Like, I needed a car. My transmission was going out, and someone gave me a car for free. Like,
Wow.
when does that happen? It doesn't. And so, like, and it was like a month or two after my mom passed away. Like, they didn't even know me. They didn't know my story, but they came to church and they were like, does anyone need a car? Because we are giving this car for free if someone needs it, because they were just going to give it to a junkyard. And someone was like, actually, I know someone who needs a car. And so I got a car for free.
I know you go to a very active youth group.
Yes.
I'm sure that was a part of your story as well to help you get through it.
Yeah, for sure. Those people there are incredible. I kind of go between both Brookwood and First Baptist Simpsonville, and both communities are absolutely incredible, and they have poured into me and they have loved me. When I came to Brookwood for the first time, no one knew my story, and they didn't know for a while, but they still loved me, and they still cared for me, and they still, like, surrounded me and loved me no matter what.
I feel like these two youth groups were a part of your speech.
Yeah, they absolutely
Yeah.
were. Yeah.
Have you started hearing from people that may have been in the audience that day, like specifically reach out to you and say, you touched me?
Yes. I had a lot of people, like, DM me on Instagram or Facebook. Some people texted me because they had, like, parents of my peers and stuff who had my phone number. I had some peers tell me that because of what I said, like, they're encouraged in their faith and they were going through, like, a really tough time, and they, like, needed the encouragement and they needed the reminder.
Well, we did get a text just now from Carol, and Carol said, I was there.
Wow.
Her granddaughter was graduating, and she heard that speech, and I know that she was proud. And I think I saw your dad in an interview
Yes.
where he said he was just bawling.
He said he was squalling. Of all words he could have used, he said squalling.
Squalling. First thing he said to you when he saw you after that speech. What was it?
He just gave me a hug, and he was teary-eyed. He was so proud of me. He got to hear it a couple weeks before, but I think it just hit him again, even just hearing the applause from the audience and everything. But he just was really proud of me, and I think he also gave me, like, that same proudness my mom would have given me, which was really sweet.
So special. Lydia Owens with us this morning. Hang around. So don't go anywhere, okay?
Got
Because
it.
we got some more for you coming up.
Let's go.
Lydia Owens with us from Woodmont High. She did the commencement speech that went viral across the planet.
It's still going.
I think the Mars and even the moon got a capture
Wow.
of
They
this.
got a call.
Amazing. Lydia Owens has been spending some time with us this morning. Valedictorian at Woodmont High, did the commencement speech, which if you've been scrolling lately, chances are you've seen Lydia because Lydia has been viral nuts right now, all over the place, which she's gotten a lot of attention. You've gotten interviews from everywhere.
Yes, lots of interviews. But it's really awesome though, because I just love the way that God is still using it and it's still being pushed out there, and I think that's really cool.
I listened to it, and it seems to me that every word you did was very intentional.
Yes.
Why is that?
Well, I had one copy of my speech actually, and I didn't like it because I didn't talk about Jesus that much. Like I did mention him, but it was not exactly what I wanted because I wanted to talk more about Jesus. And I was sharing that with someone, and they were like, well, why wouldn't you? And I was like, oh, that's a good point. Why wouldn't I? Because I was really worried about what other people would think. That was what really bothered me. And they told me God calls us to be bold in our faith. And he said, when am I going to have another opportunity and speak of thousands of people?
Now,
this is my opportunity.
Woodmont High School is a public school.
Yes.
So we're not talking a Christian school that
Right.
you're going to, but yet here you are in a public school.
Yes.
Just saying, no, you know what? I am going to talk about Jesus.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And I went home that night after having that conversation, and they encouraged me to be bold in my faith. And I scratched my entire speech, and I sat there. It was like midnight, and I just prayed. I was like, God, let this be exactly what you want to say, not what I want to say. And I truly believe that's what he did. That wasn't my words. That was God's words.
Got a couple of points from the speech itself. I want to play this and hear what was going through your mind as you were writing this.
Even if you accomplish all of your dreams or none of them at all, you are still valuable and you are still good enough because you are made in the image of God.
Why'd you write that?
I think honestly I was speaking to myself. That's something that I've always wrestled with, was putting my identity in everything but Jesus, and especially when it came to my grades. As valedictorian, I pushed myself a lot to succeed academically, and I wanted people to know that no matter what happens in your life, no matter if you do everything that you've ever hoped and dreamed for, or if you do none of them at all, that's not what matters. What matters is that you are valuable because God made you.
Here's another point of the speech.
You don't have to worry about whether or not you'll be successful because God promises that his grace is sufficient for us and that his power is made perfect in our weaknesses.
That's how you closed it out. Listen to the applause. That's so great.
And I feel like there were so many graduates and their parents and their families that were there that in that moment were so thankful for those words. Whether they have a belief in God or not, have ever met Jesus, have ever had that relationship, they needed to hear it.
No, your thoughts behind that, what we just heard.
Well, I was just really hoping to get the point across that as we're transitioning out of high school and into college, you're going to have these dreams, you're going to have these ambitions that you really want to succeed and get, but even if you don't, that's not going to matter in the end. And that's what I really wanted these graduates to understand was no matter what happens, no matter what you go through, if you get all your goals, if you don't, that God, he loves you, and he is the only thing that will ever satisfy. Even if you place all your identity and all your value in what you accomplish, you're never going to be satisfied. Only Jesus can do that.
Our next motivational speaker is in the house. Lydia Owens. Remember that name. Okay, today's a special day.
Yeah.
So if you would, Lydia, take a look to your right. Just look to your right,
Yeah.
because in through the door is some
my
birthday
goodness.
cake for you.
Yay.
Lydia just turned 18 today.
So you got to blow the candles out. The
So happy
ones that are
birthday to
left.
you. Happy birthday
Oh, okay.
to you. Happy birthday, dear Lydia.
Happy birthday to you.
Blow out your candles. Yeah.
Oh no, fire alarm. Here are some flowers that we
Thank
have.
you.
And we also have a card from
Thank you so
Sarah.
much.
Yes.
Yes.
So sweet.
Super
birthday.
proud of you. Congratulations for standing for your faith in the middle of a lot of stuff that you had to walk through in life.
Yeah. Thank you guys. That means a lot. I really appreciate it.
And happy birthday.